All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is line counts, DPS in the current meta. Okay, so I created this new spreadsheet, I guess, where I just gather as much data as possible post patch. So shout out to all these people. Got to give credit where credit is due. All of these people down over here uh, gave their input, gave their line count. So I appreciate them for doing that. And then I have all of the line counts here. So I'm going to post this into my Discord. So if you want to get this line count, join the Discord. I'll post a link in the description below. But then you guys will be able to see this, right? This is not just keeping for myself, but if you see there are a few classes down here that I'm still missing. So if you know anyone that plays this class, shout out, have them send this info to me. I'm looking for 15 seconds, kind of the DS4 window of burst, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay. In fog training, just stand there, get your line counts. So yes, I get disclaimer. Lines are not adjusted to account for clone classes. Paladin line does not include bonded echo lines in post patch column. So, right, everyone's first thing is looking at lines. Lines are very misleading. Okay, so we'll look at whatever you want to look at. 3 minutes here. You'll see Nightwalkers. You'll see, look at all these thieves. Thieves are what? 6 of the top 8 line counts over 3 minutes. And you can see that some of these classes have an insane line count, right? Nightwalkers got a disgusting amount of lines. Shadowers, Dual Blades, Nightlords, all these classes, keep in mind they have clones, right? So majority of these lines are hitting 70% even or less. So keep that in mind. But sneaky good Blaster, sneaky good Hayato, well, not sneaky good, but kind of underused Hayato Demon Slayers are all up there in 3 minutes lines. And then you can just adjust this as it is. So take a look in the Discord. You can see who has the best 15-second burst here. And I get it, 15 seconds may not, may benefit some classes more than others. I get it. But I just wanted to create a sort of baseline of DS4, right? So Buccaneers, my gosh, 6,000 lines in 15 seconds is insane. Look at how much damage they do in this 15 seconds compared to like the rest of their fight. It's a lot. No surprise if you ran with the Buccaneer before, it is really hard to out DPS their burst. And then Lin, sneaky up there, man. Lin's got a huge buff to their burst, so they are burst heavy. One of the best bursts in the game, in my opinion. And they ain't just a support right now. They're actually doing pretty good damage. So take a look at this. My takeaway, right, is one. How I gauge this and look at this is maybe different than other people, but I actually like to do the combination of what I find is the best classes is a combination of sort of who has the best upfront burst in the 15-second window, kind of combined with this, 2 minute, 3 minute, whatever you want to scale it by. But I put a pretty big emphasis on this burst window because, like I said, if it's majority of fights nowadays, you'll find that they tend to be like heavily, if you can get this extra burst in, if it's a 2.5 minute fight, if it's a 4.5 minute fight, 6.5 minutes fight, right? Like even like a 8:30 fight. These classes, if they can get their burst up at the last second, are going to get huge spikes in DPS and are going to jump up the charts. And that was the sort of issue pre-patch, where classes that you thought had a good line count, but were sustainable classes, didn't really perform as well as you thought based on the numbers. But in real bossing, because like for example, Paladins are one of the worst classes line count wise. Okay. So look at Paladins all the way down here. Paladins are ranked 28th, 27th. Yeah. In line counts. Okay. So they have 15,000. And then even in 3 minute fights, they move up to 13 or 12, right? So they get a decent boost because of their burst. their upfront burst. If you can get this all off, save your cooldowns, things like that, you actually get a big burst. They also have the buff from bonded lines, but you'll see here that like some of these classes right here, no surprise, are very, very good. Right? If you just looked at the burst, some of these classes are very, very strong. In comparison to these ones at the bottom, you'll see like Shade, Ho Young, Blast, Bowmaster, Aran, Fire Poison Mages. I wouldn't say they are what you would call like the cream of the crop, right? I would say, if anything, you would expect, if you funded the same way across the board, that most of these classes up here, even the 15, like are stronger. And so it is crazy to see how many classes there are right now, but do what you want with this data. Again, it is just data. If I were to pick sort of my top 5 DPSs right now, based on what I've seen in games and what I've seen in based on the numbers, is Wild Hunter absolutely is the new kind of new Mercedes, but they are the new cream of the crop in my opinion. Like if I'm looking at Vihila, because of their ability to attack on the move, a lot of these lines are insane. They are, I think they're all cap lines too. There's no clones. Maybe the Jaguars are, but yeah, they get a lot of damage. And Bobo right now is absolutely crushing everybody for us. Shadowers, I think, are definitely up there. I haven't found anyone that has like, I think Shadowers are just very good. Whether you flip flop Nightwalker, Shadower, Dual Blades, pick your poison. Well, but I think just straight raw damage, I think Shadowers might take the cake, especially like in things like Covert. But this is, I would say this is sort of my top 5. Nightwalker, Wild Hunter, Shadower, Blaster, Dual Blade. No shock, the top 5 in 3-minute line counts. If I went to 2-minute line counts, Hayatos would be up there. Wild Hunters would fall down slightly. Blasters would fall, but yeah, Hayatos would jump in there in 2-minute fights. Okay, but Hayatos, I don't think have as great 1-minute burst. Yeah, I mean they're still like top 10, top 11, but just in comparison, it feels like they may drop off slightly. So the moral of the story is like the difference between however you line it up. Okay, 2 minutes, 3 minutes burst. These numbers are so close. So like you may like so close. 17,000 versus 16,000 lines. That is in a real fight, that is marginal. Right? In a long fight, that is marginal. Now, rarely ever, if you ever check, do you do 100% lines? Because obviously fog training is a lot different than real bossing with the movements and stuff. But I think if you want to choose a main, like, or what classes are very strong, Thief Story is the way to go. Like you can't go wrong with a Thief right now. Nightwalker's got an extra iframe. Shadowers, I don't think got an extra iframe. Nightlord's got an extra iframe, and their barrage got changed too. So Nightlord's burst is actually pretty strong and pretty good. But I'm a big fan of any of these thieves. Maybe not Ho Young. Ho Young is kind of an outlier. I don't think Ho Young is as good as the numbers say, because look at this burst window right here. Not that great. They have high lines, but not that great. And then I still think like any of these classes too, even in the top 15, are playable. Very strong. I've seen Kana's top the charts, Arrows, Paladins top the charts, Demon Slayers, Hayatos, all of them are all very good. So the meta hasn't really changed too much, right? Thief Story is the way it's been. Warriors have always been sort of 1A, 1B. And I think with the support changes for Paladins, and I think with some of these like Demon Slayer's got another iframe. So it's all of these, there's so many good classes. It really comes down to funding and your ability to maximize your lines and your damage. and play your class and play it to the best of its potential. So I think the game is in a great place right now. They balance a lot of things where mages kind of have their own iframe as well with ethereal form. And I really am excited to see where my paladin goes, where my Lin goes. Personally, I want to see more content. We have like 2-3 set arcane wild hunters. I want and a Nightwalker, and so it's cool to see them kind of battle it out. And then just a lot of underrated classes. Wind archers, I think, are sneaky better than they look here line wise. Lumi's got a pretty good buff too. So yeah, I'll share this with you guys in Discord. Hope you guys, if you can find more data on these classes, that'd be great. And yeah, I'm curious what you guys think about this. Which classes you think got a big buff, or which classes you found that are really OP right now. Uh, Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.